Hey guys, it's me, Mr. Schaefer, back at it again with our boy Bob. Um, we're gonna pick up where we left off last time, so let's set that bookmark. All right, I immediately know as soon as I flip back, the first thing I see is Gorilla Ghost, and there's sneaky old Ivan eating his banana. If you remember what happened right before that, he was laying under a giant pile of dilapidated, craziness of a disaster, right? There was stuff on top of him. There's firefighters and police there using the jaws of life. You know, that's what they use like in car wrecks, guys, like to rip stuff open. So the whole like gorilla villa, the whole thing was falling on top of Ivan. Bob was there with him. There was another rescue dog there with him. Little Bob was licking his hand, letting him know he was there. I thought that Ivan was gone, guys. I don't know what you thought, but yeah, so pretty much, I thought Ivan was going to be leaving us, and thank God he's not. He's there with us, right? But really, this whole kind of chapter or section we read was all about Bob kind of rolling around the whole devastated zoo right now, trying to look for everybody. He brought Kudzu back to his mama, or back to her mama. Sorry, I keep calling Kudzu a boy. So he did that. He saved Kudzu. Remember, they pulled the elephants pulled him out of the or pulled her out of the water. Um, uh, yeah, man. There's animals everywhere. There's police officers running around with tranquilizer guns. Maya's back in the picture, but they still have not seen Julia or George. Um, yeah, so we need to see what's going on. All right, here we go. Wolf on the run. I scramble over to Ivan, and he gives me a look that says, "You're the best, Bob." "I thought you were a goner," I say, licking some banana goo off his chin. "Me too." Ivan seems a little dazed. His eyelashes are white with dust. "What happened anyway?" "Tornado." "Ruby okay? Kenyani? Julia? George?" "Haven't seen Julia or George yet. Kenyani's over there, carrying on." A paramedic holding a box of medical equipment approaches us nervously. "I've got this," calls a woman I recognize as one of the park veterinarians. The paramedic looks happy to step aside. The vet gently, firmly pushes me out of the way. "I'll be back," I tell Ivan. I run to Kenyani. He's good, totally good. The look of joy in her eyes makes me want to give her an affectionate nose nudge. Almost. From there, I join Ruby and Maya. "I was so scared, Bob," Ruby whispers. "Me too," I admit. "Me too, but he's fine, I promise." We watch a pair of otters dart past, chased by a guy with a net. One of the firefighters who had been clearing debris yells, "We're clear here. No sign of other victims." Sarah closes her eyes, and I can smell her relieved tears, while Maya listens to her walkie-talkie, trying to take stock of the damage to the park. Officer Williams' police radio hisses and crackles with new problems, new flooding, new dire predictions. Dire means like terrible, sad, bad predictions. "Copy that," she says into her radio. Even with the chaos and noise, I'm close enough to the radio to catch the tiny sound of frantic barking. Sorry, guys, I'm about to sneeze. So he's hearing barking over the radio. "We've got a unit reporting the animal shelter down the street's flooding," Officer Williams says. "Also, we got a trailer park damage on 12th Street, and an oak down on Nelson Avenue blocking traffic, and a big rig overturned near the fairgrounds. And that's just for starters." Out of the corner of my eye, I notice something airborne. It's graceful and bold, like a huge wingless bird. The crowd gasps. It's Kimu. He lands on the hood of Officer Williams' squad car. His eyes are glazed, his coat wet and shimmering. "We got a 1091 here," Officer Williams whispers into her receiver. "Confirmed. There's a wolf on top of my vehicle." Slowly, she reaches for the pistol on her hip. "Please advise." Dude, chemo comes out of nowhere. Hold on. Sorry, I was about to sneeze everywhere. Alright, so, Kimu, Wolf, just jumped onto the top of the cop car. Shots fired. Several officers raised their guns. The tranquilizer dart guy takes aim, too. No! Maya yells. No guns! Kimu blinks, eyes darting right and left, then leaps off the car with such grace and speed, it's like he owns the wind. 2 shots ring out. Silence follows. Was he hit? Someone asks. Maya closes her eyes. I sure hope not. I sure hope so, someone else says. Dude, they shot him. I don't know if they hit him or not. As I watched that leap, watched Kimu fly, I didn't know what to think. Part of me was like, go for it, dude. And another part of me was thinking, it's a jungle out there. That would be scary, right? A wolf on the loose. A situation. Officer Williams climbs onto the picnic table. Someone hands her a megaphone so she can be heard over the din. Folks, she yells, listen up. We got a handful of animal control workers coming over, but several roads are already flooded out, and the weather guys are saying Gus is going to take his sweet time. Remember, Gus is the name of the hurricane. Meantime, park supervisors calls in for more help, but only if your workers can get here safely. The unmistakable roar of a big cat rolls over us like slow thunder. Any more Trent guns? Officer Williams asks as the park director, who just arrived. 3 in reserve, she answers. Nets? We have a dozen. Okay then. Officer Williams' radio crackles. I can hear more shouting, more barking dogs. Shelter's flooding, she says. Yeah, that's happened before, the director says. Usually just a foot or 2 of water. Okay, public safety is where we start. Officer Williams wipes rain from her forehead. We need to get the word out that these animals are on the loose. Of course, says the director. We have protocols in place, but we need to be careful how we word this. People might overreact. Ma'am, a firefighter interrupts. I see a python in my backyard. I'm sure as heck gonna overreact. First things first, says Officer Williams. Triage, the main office. Check wreckage for any survivors, human or animal. Fan out with the Trent guns. Get inventory on how many animals are loose. I wonder how it's possible that Officer Williams can see so composed. The air reeks with fear from animals, birds, people, from me. And yet she doesn't seem worried about herself, just other people. Weird. The way humans stick their necks out for others doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? No, to me, that's what kindness is all about, right? Maybe even bravery is all about. Putting your neck out for other people, or something we humans do all the time, right? Protect each other, look out for each other. Again, the crackle, the hiss, the barking. My ears perk up for a minute. Was that a familiar voice? Maybe someone I know is in the slammer. So remember, like the slammer for dogs, that's like at the shelter, right? So he's hearing barking over the radio and he thinks he recognizes somebody. I'm going to go to the shelter and the elementary school, Sarah says. Her hands are trembling, but her voice is firm. To look for George and Julia, just in case. She strokes my head and I'm happy to let her. I wonder if I should tag along with her, see if I can help out. Now that I know Ivan and Ruby are safe. Hiss, crackle, meow, bark. I hear it again. My ears go on alert. My body goes rigid. No, it's impossible. What do you think it is? Oh my. Never. Some barks you never forget. That's like voices, right, for humans. Like there's voices you know and you recognize, right? Well, Bob thinks he recognizes the bark. One place. I know what I have to do. Despite the turmoil all around me, the noises, the smells, the fear, the confused humans, the frantic animals, despite my worry for Julia and George, I know there's one place I need to be. Uh-oh. A split second. I want to tell Ivan and Ruby, but Ivan is still being poked at by the rhymes with pet threat. Although some think of it, she doesn't seem like much of a threat. In a movie, she'd be one of the good guys. To my annoyance, Sarah picks me up. I hate being picked up, unless it's my idea. Then it's totally cool. Maya, she says, you let me know first sign of George and Julia, okay? Promise, says Maya, and she places her hand on Sarah's shoulder. Humans, always with the touching. Although I kind of get it, under the circumstances. You can't take Bob to the school shelter. They're not allowing any more pets, Maya points out. And the animal shelter's flooding, it sounds like. Why don't you leave him here? I'll put him in my office. He'll be safe. No way that's on my agenda. Sarah nods. Good idea. She starts to hand me over but hesitates when she realizes Maya still has a meerkat wrapped around her neck. It's just a split second, but a split second's all it takes to escape when you're Bob, untamed and undaunted. Uh-oh. Bob! Sarah cries. Oh, the chapter's going on my way. Grab that dog, Maya yells. I spent a good part of my life running from a certain guy named Mac, and I still have my moves. I twist and spin and dip, and before you can say, yes, sirree, Bob, they've given up. I backtrack, slip under a bench, and make my way to Ruby. Ruby, I whisper, I gotta go. Something important's come up. You and Ivan, see if you can find George and Julia. I want to come, Ruby says, stomping her right front foot in a huge puddle. You need to keep an eye on Ivan, I say. Make sure Kenyani doesn't drive him loco with her sobbing. I'll be back before you know it. I don't wait for an answer. I'm off into the wild, into the world filled with wind and rain, the wolves and alligators, with a voice that could rip my heart in two. Alligator on top of this car is flooding. Alright guys, that's the end of part 2. So we have part 3. We're stopping right there. So, wow, right? I have no idea where Bob is headed, except for, in my opinion, I think he's going to go, of course, go try to find Julia and George. But I think that that familiar voice that he's hearing over the radio is coming from the shelter. Prediction time, all right? Who do you think he's going to find there? Is he going to make it there? I cannot be ran away from them and tried to escape from them again. So, I don't know, Bob. I think he's been a little brave, a little crazy. I guess we'll see. All right, enjoy. I'll see you next time.